Hello everyone, this is Linkimus Prime, and today we are taking a look at the S.H.MonsterArts Biollante from the 1989 Kaiju movie Godzilla vs. Biollante. And before we look at the figure, as always, we'll be taking a quick look at the box. This thing is huge, and but this is basically the front of the box. We do get a picture of Biollante on the front. We get Biollante special color version. Tamashii Nations, Bandai, all that kind of stuff. Godzilla 2020, because this was during the 65-year anniversary. And S.H.MonsterArts on the top. On the side, we get a black and white look at Biollante. Biollante in Japanese. And then we also get S.H.MonsterArts on the top there. On the back, we get our promo shots of the figure itself and some of the features that it does have. On the other side, we get Biollante special color version. On the bottom, pretty much just another picture of Biollante and stuff I cannot read. And on the top, we just get Biollante special color version. So that is about it for the box. And moving right along, here we have the ginormous S.H.MonsterArts Biollante special color version out of the box. And this thing looks absolutely amazing. Now, getting some of the detail out of the way, there is a lot to cover on this figure. We do get a lot of really nice molded detail, especially with all of the kind of mossy, leafy type textures on the figure, as well as a lot of spikes, and it looks really nice. Now, some backstory on Biollante before going any further. Basically, this is the combination of a scientist's dead daughter, Godzilla cells after he blew up, or whatever happened to him in 1984. I can't exactly remember, but I remember his cells just went everywhere, and a rose. So this is just DNA of all of those things combined together, containing the soul of someone's dead daughter. And yeah, very interesting concept, if I do say so myself. But this thing is quite literally a quote-unquote clone of Godzilla, or as I would like to say, a Godzilla's illegitimate child. So yeah, that's basically about it. So that's why this kind of looks the way it does. But in the movie, she did start out as kind of like a giant rose monster, and then the petals just kind of fell off in a sense, and just revealing this giant, monstrous, alligator-looking Godzilla-like face. So yeah. But going back to the details, now like that's why there's all the leafy details that fell off. I'll put that back on later. But yeah, so a lot of really nice textures on this figure. Now, when it comes to the paint, I don't know what the original version looks like, but in terms of everything else, like, this looks pretty much exactly accurate to how Biollante looked in the movie. You get a lot of the green and grayish, kind of green, brown, yellowish colors on this figure, and it does look really nice. And also going in on the teeth, along with like these fangs, these look pretty nicely painted as well. On the inside of the mouth, spoiler for Articulation, but that also looks really nice on the inside as well. So yeah, a lot of really nice detail and paint on this figure. Now going over some of the problems. As you saw, this did fall off. This is one of the issues. Now, it's an issue that I will forgive, mainly because this thing is kind of heavy for what it is. But I will say, in terms of a $300 figure, that is not exactly too forgivable. So that is a very loose joint right there. So that is kind of disappointing. But like I said, because of some of the weight, I will partially forgive that problem. But everything else, it may have some loose ball joints here or there, but I haven't really had any big problems with them falling off or anything like that. But yeah, but really nice looking figure if I do say so myself. Now, this does have another feature as well. So if we come here to the bottom, we do get a giant, basically, piece of plastic covering this bottom part, because this thing houses electronics. So we get a little switch right here. This is in the middle, so that is in the off position. We do get, when you flick it to the right, it turns on yellow, and that looks really cool in my opinion. And once we also flick it to the left, it turns red for when she's angry. So that is pretty cool. If it had like sounds or something, I guess that would have been cool, but I feel like that would have upped the price. So I'm just grateful for the light feature there. But yeah, so really cool. Now, if you're wondering what it looks like in the light, I'm gonna turn this on. Come on, there we go. Here's what she looks like in the dark. So that looks really cool with that nice yellow glow. It is light outside, so there might be some light coming out from the back, but you do get a general idea. And then also looking that to the red, and that looks really good. Now, it doesn't really translate well on camera. That does kind of look a little bit red, but trust me, it's red, and from what I'm seeing, this is red. So yeah, looks really nice as well. Now, when it comes to the articulation, there is quite a bit to cover on this figure. So first off, we will start off with the head. We do get a ball joint right in here. Pretty much most of this consists of ball joints, like pretty much every other S.H.MonsterArts figure. So we do get a ball joint here, so she can look left and right, up and down. Not too much, but that's what all of this stuff is for. Another ball joint here, 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 and there. And this is another problem. That tends to fall off easily. But, you know, ball joint in there. All I gotta do, just pop that back in, like so. Like that. But yeah, but she can look up pretty much about this much. So that's pretty cool. And then there's also this bit right here that's also like has a bit of articulation to kind of help hold that up, so it makes it look just a little bit seamless. But she can also look down about that far as well, just a little bit farther, but this does kind of get in the way in terms of that. And then there's also this bit right here on the back, which I think is a little bit bit of a useless point of articulation, but I guess it adds a little bit more kind of realism, I guess. But I don't know, it's there and it works, I guess, but not entirely needed. And then we also have the 4 limbs here. Now, these did come separately out of the box, so you did have to assemble them, which is one of the reasons why she's a bit loose in some areas. This part is the more loose part right here. So that is a boo. Haha. Yeah, there's another one. Okay. But yeah, so as you can see, pretty much everything consists of ball joints, and I'm pretty sure all these limbs are the same, so I'm just going to try to pick. Well, okay, the front ones are a bit smaller than the back ones, but you know, basic idea: ball joint, 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 ball joint. Yeah, there's ball joints pretty much everywhere on this figure, and then pretty much on every one of the mouths, or on the arms, I guess. There's that little bit that opens up, and these can kind of rotate around a lot. So yeah, so that's just some of the articulation, but pretty much, you know, all the ball joints can swivel and all that kind of stuff, so you do get a lot of range and posability on this figure. But yeah, so a lot of really nice articulation. Main problem is mainly just the some of the parts that do fall off a lot easily. But it is slightly forgivable, mainly due to the size of this figure. But the only unforgivable part is the price, because $300. Anyways, but yeah, just really lot of nice articulation on this figure in general. So yes. And another point of articulation we do get is also, like I showed earlier, but at the jaw. My only gripe with this is I wish it could have opened up just a little bit wider, but because I don't want to force that. I don't want it to break or anything, so it's like, yeah, but it looks pretty good. The inside of the mouth, though, does look pretty good, but just kind of wish there was a little bit more range there in terms of that. But yeah, so that is pretty much the basics of her articulation. Now, sadly, because of classic Bandai here, we do not get any accessories whatsoever, which honestly, in my opinion, kind of hurts the $300 price point. Now, there are two accessories that I think could have helped this figure if she had come with them, but that being a replaceable head for, you know, maybe the rose face, or like the rose head. That could have been a possible accessory, or maybe even the kind of plasma-like material that she throws up all over Godzilla, except I don't really know how they would execute that, but there could have been a possible way for them to do that. I don't know, but some form of accessory could have really helped this figure, and maybe at least, you know, at least explain or justify the price in any form, because when it's just a $300 figure that lights up, that kind of hurts a bit in terms of, you know, wallets and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, because we don't get accessories whatsoever, kind of does hurt the price a little bit, but I guess what can you do? So yeah, no accessories. Now, if you do remember from one of my past reviews, and this was the last S.H.MonsterArts figure that I reviewed recently, but here we have Biollante in comparison with 89 Biogoji, and this is a really nice looking pair of figures in my opinion. Now, I will say, because this is like the downscaled version of the Kokyo Kyoku version, maybe the light up feature from that would have worked well with this, but because it is upscaled, like that version is upscaled, it wouldn't exactly fit into scale. So this Goji figure was mainly made to fit into scale with the Biollante figure, which I guess makes sense. So, you know, it kind of just comes down to scale, I guess. But these two do look really, really well together, in my opinion. For more comparisons, here we have the S.H.MonsterArts. We got this guy. And then another comparison, here we have her next to the S.H.MonsterArts 2021 Goji. See how that scales. And for the final SH comparison, here we have Biollante next to the SH Kong. So yeah, in terms of comparisons, that is about it. And for my final comments on this figure, it is a bit debatable, in my opinion, honestly, whether this figure is great or just okay. Mainly because, from what I've been able to gather from doing this review, since this is probably the most I've really messed with this figure, its pros are that it has great paint, great articulation, and amazing sculpt and detail. The cons are mainly just due to the amount of times parts may fall off because of weak ball joints, which, like I said, and I'll say it again, is a little bit forgivable, mainly because of like the weight of some parts. But the only unforgivable aspect of it is mainly because it is a $300 figure. Another thing is the lack of accessories. No, I do not count the light up feature as something. That's just a feature. Accessories are what comes with the figure. Another example of this, going back to this guy, not having accessories when he is clearly the heat ray version, yet comes with no heat ray. With Biollante here, slightly similar story, except, there's really not much to really kind of compare to that, I guess, because there's really no special version of this, unless they could have included some form of alternate head for the rose. That could have been doable, and that could have easily probably maybe justified a $300 price point. In my opinion, that's still kind of excessive for a price, but I guess that's just for Bandai to decide on their part. Another thing, like I said earlier, Another accessory they could have included is something like the kind of plasma throw up to basically maybe cover this figure without like ruining the paint or anything. I feel like that could have been doable, but no. So, should you skip it? Should you buy it? In my opinion, that's really hard to come down to, because this is honestly a really good figure in my opinion. But when it comes to lack of paint, or no, not lack of paint, when it comes to lack of accessories, parts falling off too easily, and that painful price point, honestly, I would have to say probably you may want to skip it. But if you want a figure with great articulation, great paint detail, and great sculpting detail, this thing is highly, highly worth it in my opinion. I think the light up feature is also really cool, and it's bright enough as well. If you wanted to kind of put that on a display or something like that. So, in my opinion, for some collectors, it's worth it. For others, not so much. So it's pretty much just kind of like a tie in terms of whether or not you may want to get it or may not want to get it. Personally, I really like this figure. I did get it for my birthday. And so I'm not going to complain too much about this, because honestly, there's a lot more to enjoy about this figure than to really gripe about. So, but I do honestly love this figure. But yeah, so that is pretty much about it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.